A good completion rate for podcasting changes every single year. But if your goal is to trigger algorithms, you want to be 53, 59% play-through rate, listen-through rate, completion rate. This means somebody starts your podcast. We want them to listen to the whole effing podcast, the whole episode. We don't want them to leave early. So with that said, here's a few things that you can do. Step one thing that you can do to make sure you have a higher completion rate, I say, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. So this just means I want to make a promise and I want to keep it. I want to hook my audience, get them excited to listen to my podcast. And then I want to deliver on the promise. I want to make sure that I follow through with everything that I said. And I don't want a whole bunch of wasted time. I want to trim the fat and I want it to be helpful and useful for my listener. And then at the end, I want to just wrap it up and go. The problem that some people are doing is before they can hook their audience, they already have an ad. They have a 1 minute or 2 minute ad. In fact, I was just interviewing somebody who wanted to do a discovery call because they want to work with our team. And I listened to their podcast and they had a 1 minute and 11-second ad before their listener ever got any value. I'm like, listen, I don't know how to say this politely, but you're asking for something. You're trying to get your people to buy stuff, but you haven't given them any value. They haven't even gotten excited about your show or the episode, and you're already like cramming some ad down their throat. And I just don't think that that's appropriate. I don't think people like doing that. I know I skip it. Oftentimes won't even listen to a podcast if the very first thing is a few ads. Or if I love the podcast, then I will learn incredibly fast that I need to skip through to the 2 minute and 30-second mark for this podcast. To get rid of all that fluff, I just go forward, and then I let go, and then I can listen to the episode because I've learned to just automatically skip all of that shiz, that wasted stuff. So for you, here's your takeaways to get a higher completion rate or takeaway. I want you to have a teaser. This is 17 seconds or less. I want you to have a teaser where it's part of the episode. It's an exciting part of the episode where your listener can be like, oh yeah, this is going to be a good one. I'm glad I'm listening to this. At least get them hooked. And then I want your intro to be very, very short. 15 seconds is the goal. Now, some people have 45 seconds a minute. That's way too long. Some people have 20 seconds. That's probably going to be okay. Your goal is a 15-second recorded introduction. This basically means like if you have a voiceover artist with like music in the background, that copy, the transcript, the words are going to be 15 seconds or less if you can. You want to call out your listener. You want to call out the perfect avatar that you're working with and let them know that this podcast is for them. And then you want to come into the episode and say, hey, this is the value that you're going to get. This is what we're talking today about. And if you want to do an ad, it needs to be after that. You really want to make sure that first 60 seconds is valuable to the listener. It gets them hooked. It gets them excited. So tell them what you're going to tell them, and then you tell them. So you get into the episode and you tell them the things. Maybe you want an ad. So you're like, where should I put it? Should I put the ad in the beginning, middle, or end? Well, if we're talking about completion rates and you need to have at least 53, 59% of your listeners playing all the way to the end of the podcast episode, you're not going to want to have 7 calls to action that are confusing. You're not going to want to have a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes like ending to the podcast, because then they're already going to be skipping to the next one.